You've just tuned in to the greatest podcast in the world right now, today, this second. It's And the Wife with Anastasia.
Kevin, you would say the same thing?
Oh.
He would say Honcho in Mexico, just like I do?
Yeah, because you guys don't know how to read, apparently.
I don't know. When I see Hecho in Mexico,
yeah,
it looks like Honcho in Mexico to me.
When you look at it like real fast, real fast.
I guess. Because since I'm not the only one that sees that, then I guess it's a lot of people that see that.
No, maybe.
And so, although you were not honchoed in Mexico.
I'm still a honcho.
You're still a honcho.
Nice.
Okay, so the dude, we're going to call him Mr. New Year.
Mr. what?
Mr. New Year.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. New Year is this guy who was well respected and very happy fella. Every time you see him, he would say some great things. His life was great. Everything about his life was great. And he would always mention his wife and how great his life is because of his wife. Every day was Christmas. Every night was New Year's Eve. Every time we saw him. And so, crazy thing though, his wife, I ran into her at an event and I said, "Oh, how are you? How are things going? How's Mr. New Year?" And Mrs. New Year said, "Well, you didn't hear. You didn't know?" I was like, "No, what?" "Oh, he ran away from home." I was like, "What do you mean? What kind of grown up runs away from home?" Right? And she said that she was out at work, I think. And that when she came home, she said something felt weird about the house. It's weird how things can feel weird, even though you don't know. Out of place. Yeah, like even though you don't know what it is, you just feel like something strange is happening. So she went upstairs. She was looking around her house. I don't know. She felt weird. She got in her bedroom, her master bedroom, and in the bedroom, it looked like some things were missing. On further inspection, she found that all of her husband's things were missing. All of his toiletries from the bathroom, every article of clothing and shoes from the closet. He had ghosted himself from his life. So I said, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I thought everything was great. He always seemed so happy. You always seem so happy." And she said, "Yeah." She said she thought everything was great too. She thought everything was wonderful. All the stuff that he said to their friends and family about how great his life was, about how wonderful that she was, is exactly what he said to her. Crazy. And so he's like, just gone. And he says that, I don't know. She never really talked about his feelings about it. Just that he was gone, and she called him, and he was like he had to go. But you spoke with him,
yeah,
and he had a whole different side of the story. But also, her side of the story was that she had a position that she had been working at for many, many years, and she was like at one of the higher levels in her job, and that he had talked her into staying home with their child. And their child was in like, oh, I want to say second or third grade, fourth grade, somewhere around there. And he talked her into it. And she was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." So it was like her last week of work when he disappeared. And she was upset because she was like, he talked me into this. Now I have to go back to work and I have to start at the bottom. So all my seniority,
I don't think they would have started.
That's what she said she had to do because she was back at work. Mm-hmm. She said all the seniority she had over all those years, she lost because she left her job when she did. And because it was all, papers were signed, everything was in, it was over. It was her last week of work and he took off. And she was blindsided by the entire thing. So Mrs. New Year had this side of the story. What did Mr. New Year say to you when you spoke with him?
I don't even remember. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
I think he said something about
she wanted
to leave her job and he didn't want her to do it. And but she was hell bent on doing it. And that they just didn't agree on that and other things. Mm-hmm. And he just couldn't deal with it. So he left. Okay.
So if your wife wants to quit her job and you don't want her to, do you think that's a good reason for you to, like...
No, he's saying that wasn't the only thing.
Well, but, she had no idea. Like, totally had, like, it came out of nowhere.
Well, at least that's what she's telling you.
Well, I don't know. Because, I mean, he always seemed to be so happy. They seemed happy. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, what would cause someone to not only leave, but like leave in such a...
Just like you already had a place to live set up.
Yeah. And that you just take off and don't even say anything. I'm just like, I can't even imagine. I come home and just like all your stuff is gone. Bye. Not even bye. Just...
Yeah, not even
like we're dating and we just met, or like you're just my roommate or something. You don't want to pay the rent anymore. I don't know. Like, what is that?
Yeah. I mean, you would really have to be fed up. And they weren't even together that long, right? Like 10 years or less?
Less than that. Yeah. I mean, but I guess time doesn't really matter. It's just...
No, I mean, something obviously had been stewing for a while.
Stewing for him, but not for her. And she was just like devastated. So you don't know what's happening behind closed doors when people... I mean, not just for people that know them, that think they're a happy couple, but for them in their own relationship. One thinks everything's going smoothly and great, and the other one thinks there's trouble and they have to escape. Mm-hmm. So, and the fact that he had this escape plan ready to go, and she was none the wiser. So, okay. So
yeah, the whole thing seems kind of fishy, but...
Which part's fishy to you?
I don't know. It couldn't have been perfect from her side. Because there's no way as an adult and you're in a relationship with someone else that you don't know something's going on.
You don't think so?
No, because people start to act different.
Maybe he's a sociopath and never acted differently.
Or he has multiple personalities.
I don't know. Okay. So that's one. Number two. Mm-hmm. We're going to call her Miss Hot Pants.
Okay.
Hot Pants. Because she was hot to trot in her pants. Mm-hmm. So she was a long-time housewife. And I don't know. By that point, it had to be like 18 years, 20 years, something like that.
Like 18.
Something like that.
17.
I think it was more than that. Because I think the oldest one was already out of high school. Mm-hmm. So I think it was more like 20. So they have 2 kids. She was at home taking care of them all those 20 years, maybe. And she started working. She went to school, which was great and really commendable. Like in her late 30s, early 40s, went back to school, got a degree, became a therapist. Awesome. Everybody's happy for her. Like, it's amazing.
You're doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it. Living your best life, girl, right? And so she was doing it, but she kept losing jobs, but she kept going. Lots of tenacity, had a hard time, but kept picking herself back up. And then she got this job working in a men's prison. And in the men's prison, she met an inmate that rocked her world. So she fell in.
The dog's whining.
She is whining.
Where is she?
She's right here in the corner. What's the matter, puppy? Is there a ghost over there? What's wrong? Why are you crying?
I know, we should turn all the lights off and get our equipment out.
Let's not. If there's a ghost, I don't want to talk to it. You want to see the ghost, puppy? You want to sit in the dark and do a seance?
Why does it have to be dark?
I don't know. It seems like if you're scared of ghosts popping up at you, you would have like all the lights on and not like 0 lights so you can't see even a human being popping up at you.
Well, they gotta have it has to be dark so the equipment can pick up any changes in light.
Is that what they're looking for? I thought they were
Probably.
looking for changes in temperature.
Or temperature too. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
light wouldn't change the temperature that much if it's already a certain temperature in the room.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe you should watch one of those shows and find out.
I think they're really bunk, and it's mean to do that to simpletons.
Simpletons?
And make them believe in fantasies of their beloved dead people. Because here's the thing, what I always wonder about, like in scary movies, like, okay, lots of the times in scary movies, the ghost that's haunting the person is a person they know. It's like their mate or their child or something, but why are they always evil? Why is it when you're dead, you're like ready to torment, torture, or like pull down to the grave your loved ones? Why do people turn bad?
Well, there's always a story in there, and at some point, towards the end, what they figure out why it was something that the person did to them, like something little.
But even in real life ghost stories, because I've listened to some of those too, I love a podcast about a scary story. And so people are telling their ghost tales, and they talk about the ghosts are always up to no good. And I just wonder, why are ghosts all up to no good? So are they stuck in purgatory or something, and they're just mad about it, and so they're reacting to that? Why can't they be nice? Why aren't people happy to see the ghosts of their beloved people? All right. Sorry, puppy. You got to be alone with the ghost. No more pets. Okay. Where was I in my story?
You gotta be alone with a ghost.
Yeah, my mom's cat was being weird when I was at her house too. The cat kept staring up at the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And staring up at the ceiling. And then she would make the cat face, like when something's going on, like, the
cat face.
Yeah, where like their little hairs stick up on their back and their tail goes up. And so I was like, what's going on? And then she kept staring up at the ceiling. And then she was on a sofa. And she jumped off the sofa and went under another sofa on the other side of the room after something. I was like, what is happening in this friggin' haunted house?
Those cats are they do that to fuck with you.
Well, she was doing a good job. Anyway, so Hot Pants. So Hot Pants was like, she said this guy would write to her, and he was like really great and all this kind of stuff. And he had spun this incredible tale of what he was going to give her when he got out. Not just what you're thinking.
Yeah.
He was gonna slip her some D, but that wasn't it. So he was also gonna give her a custom built house on multiple acres.
Parents or his mother's ranch.
No. He was gonna buy her land and build her a custom built house, and he wanted her to pick out. It was something random, like the color of the shutters or something like that. Do you remember this?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I was part of that conversation.
Okay. Some random part of the house, like the roof tiles or something. It was something really small about the house. Like, what color, shutters do you want in the house? We're going to get those. I want you to have exactly what you want. And you're going to have horses. We're going to have horses. Although she's never rode a horse in her life, she's really excited about having this horse property with this convict that's been in jail, that was in jail from the time he was like,
I think it was 18 years.
Yeah, but he had been in jail since he was like 17 or 18. So he was a teenager when he went to jail. Yeah. And he had been in for like 18 years for murdering somebody. And he said he had a job, a good job, before he went into the pen. And that...
How do you have a good job at 18?
I mean,
No, I worked at the Good Guys.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so he had this great job, and they were holding it for him until he got out.
Oh,
what
totally.
job? What job? Unless your parents own it, are they holding for you until you get out of jail for like 18, 19, 20 years for murdering somebody until you get out? I mean, this seems like you would smell bullshit with just that. Like, that tidbit. Oh, you went in as a teenager, and before you left, as a teenager, you had a good job making good money, and it's going to be held for you until you get out, no matter when that is. But although she had teenagers herself and knew full well that teenagers love to make up crap, although he wasn't a teenager anymore, he was an adult.
Yeah,
now.
he grew up.
He grew up in prison, and prisoners are learning tales to tell women. She didn't pick up on that. So anyway, she would always say that, like, I mean, she was so sprung on this guy.
There was plenty of people that warned her that was gonna, that's what was happening. That was going to happen to her, and it was happening after it started happening. And she was like, she said that, like, we were on the phone one night. Our kids used to run track, and I was waiting for them to finish up one night, and I was like, near the track, and I was on the phone with her, and she said, "You see that moon tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a big full moon." She's like, "Yeah, he sent it to me. He sent me that moon. He said it. He has Native American powers to control the wind and the moon and the sun and stars and all this kind of." I was like, "What?" Wow. Sounds pretty powerful to me.
Like, what? And she's like, "Yeah, he told me I shouldn't talk about it with other people because they wouldn't get it. So I really shouldn't say anything else." I was like,
she messed up.
What? Like, what? Like, what?
She's not allowed to talk about that.
She's not allowed to. First rule of Fight Club.
Yeah. First rule of Native American powers is don't talk about Native American powers.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And it was all kinds of crazy stuff that happened. And since this was some foolishness, her hanging out with this guy in the first place, her other foolish act was, although she knew when he was getting out, she decided to jump the gun. And although she had a job, she wasn't making enough money to actually live on her own, not in the way that she wanted to. So she decided to just jump the gun and say, "Hey, honey," to her husband, "guess what? I'm in love with somebody else. And soon we will be together. I want a divorce." But she tried to live on her own. And I don't know if you remember, she decided to she didn't run away from home yet. She just did something like a person that would run away from home was doing. She like took a bunch of money. They had a shared bank account. Took like a bunch of money out of the bank account, or all of it, or something.
I think it was all of
Was
it.
it all of it this time when she moved out into that first apartment, or was it all of it when she finally left?
No, when she moved to. Oh, maybe
No,
both.
I think it was all of it when she finally left.
Yeah.
So she took a bunch of money to get an apartment. She rented this apartment. And when she rented the apartment, she didn't think about where the rent money would come from after that, because she subsequently lost her job because of the relationship between her and the convict.
Mm-hmm.
Because the prisons frown on it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to do that. So she lost her job, had trouble finding another job, rented an apartment, and couldn't pay for it, but never thought about the fact that she needed to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Needed to have furniture, needed to pay bills, all those kinds of things that you need to live.
Yeah, she bought a bunch of stuff too.
Yeah. And so she ended up very quickly back in the house, the family house, with her 2 children and her husband.
Staying in the guest room.
Staying in the guest room. I mean, her husband has to be a great guy, because I don't know if I would do it. Would you do that? Would you be like, okay?
Hell no.
And be like,
You left
know
me
what?
buying.
Fuck you. Live in your car. I don't give a fuck. So
Live
anyway,
in your boyfriend's car.
yeah. Oh, he doesn't have one, right? Oh, I forgot. It's too mad. But anyway, so then she was living in the guest room, and one day she called me all a Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was collecting lingerie in a box that she was keeping under the bed in the guest room.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, her husband was going through her stuff. He found the box full of lingerie.
Collecting as in buying new lingerie.
Lots of new lingerie for her, when she got with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're waiting for it, so you
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure it's dressed up. So, and he was really upset and wanted her to go. But anyway, she stayed. They got over it.
Mm-hmm.
She left for a couple of days, and they got over it. So when the guy finally got out of jail, she decided not to say anything to anybody. Not to her kids, not to her husband. She went to the jail, picked him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason we were on the phone again that day, and she's like, oh, she was just telling me, trying to act as though nothing was going on, like it was a regular day. And she's like, oh, you caught me. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, how did you know? I was like, I honestly didn't catch her in anything. I didn't ask her any leading questions as far as I can recall, but she said, well, let's call him the chief. The chief is getting out today, and I'm picking him up, and we have to go to this other state, and he can't stay here because of his probation. So I'm driving directly to that state so I can be with him. And I was like, what?
What?
Yeah. What are you doing? Did you think about this? And she's like, yes, I want to be with him. And, it's meant to be, and he saw it in the stars and all kinds of voodoo. And so they took off together into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
But she took off with not only her box of lingerie, but everything out of that joint bank account this time. That's what it was. Everything.
Yeah.
So her husband was left with zero.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, not very happy. And his wife just disappeared, and their children had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even say goodbye to her own kids.
Nope.
No. And so have you ever thought about, not running away from me? I mean, because you wouldn't tell me anyway. But have you ever been compelled by something to act on it in that way? Like, who cares about what the repercussions are?
Mm-hmm.
Like, my kids, it doesn't matter. Like with this woman and with Miss Hot Pants and Mr. New Year's, they didn't care about their kids they were leaving behind. They just left. They don't care about what it ultimately does to their mate for them to do these things. They don't care about their friends and family that know about this, and then of course
Yeah,
take
like
sides.
there was no transition
Yeah.
period.
It was just like
I mean, well, no, I mean, I guess for
hot pants.
hot pants, there was a transition period.
Well, there was and there wasn't, because it was like, what, one time, two times, one time she came and stayed with us during this whole thing, and she was always on the phone calling her husband. And she called him to come pick her up. Remember, like, although she didn't want to be with him, she still depended on him, which was very weird. And I think maybe he thought that she wasn't really gonna leave. Maybe, you think, like, she's just being nuts, and everything's gonna be okay. So
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever been compelled to leave like that. Like, what?
like drop everything.
Yeah, just
go.
Just fuck it. I gotta go. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care how anyone feels.
It's too impulsive. Like, to keep it a secret that long, like Mr. New Year.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I still say there's two sides to every story.
There's always two sides, yes.
Because, I mean, how does she not know that he had money that he was using to...
Some couples do not have joint accounts. They have separate ones, which is smart. But it was just, I don't know. Because although I've never thought about running away from, I think about running away from home. That's a lie. I think about it from time to time. I have a bit of a temper, kind of short. And I get all my feelings a lot. And so from time to time, I do think, hey, fuck this. I got to get out of here. It's too much. But I never really leave, because what would happen to my kids? Like, I couldn't leave them. And if I brought them with me, then that wouldn't help my situation. And then, so we would just all be in a bad position, because lots of times kids can be stressful. And life can be stressful. I'm trying to work on dealing with stress better. But maybe it's their stress level. Maybe that's it. They couldn't deal with their stress anymore. And unlike me, who says, hey, you're going to trade one type of stress for a different type of stress. And really, what you're experiencing now is not that bad of a deal. If you think about it, you're really okay. You're just being impulsive. Maybe they didn't rationalize those things in their heads. They were just like, I gotta go. But I feel like I do that with other people, not with you so much. Like, I gotta get away from him. It's more like family. It's the holiday season. And sometimes I think it might be better to stay home or go on a fabulous vacation somewhere than spend time with relatives. Get away from them, because they can be stressful in ways that it's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting on this outfit? Why am I making this food? Why am I sitting in this house? Why am I with these people when they're really good at trying to push me away constantly? So them, I feel like I could run away from. Is that bad? Am I a bad girl for wanting to run away from my family?
No.
My extended family. I don't mean you. What's the matter? The puppy is still crying. Oh, I know why.
Why?
She thinks we have food up here.
Oh, she thinks we're eating.
There's no food. We're sitting at the dining room table, and she is a dirty beggar. She loves to beg for snacks and scraps. And we don't have food. See? Nothing. No plates, no bowls, nothing.
Maybe she just wants some attention.
Maybe. Have you ever wanted to run away from your family?
No. Never thought about it.
Not even your extended family? But nobody ever,
No.
nothing bugs you. You're very lucky in that way.
I don't let people get to me.
Why did it get to me so much then?
I don't know. I just think like, if they're going to say whatever they say, whether they know they're trying to hurt me or not, it doesn't really make a difference. There's no reason to start an argument because what's the result going to be? But it's like, I don't really care. So what?
Well, I feel like it does something to how I feel about myself as a person.
I don't know. Yeah.
For instance, I just realized with this last trip, although it's happened to me many times in the past, it's just now like I'm trying to understand why I react the way that I do when I'm with my extended family.
Yeah.
Like what it is that they're doing that's bringing out this negative feeling that I have. And I realized because I was visiting them in the state that they're from, and I realized when I was there, I felt like not myself. Like I'm not allowed to be myself at all. I'm trying to be a version of me that is more acceptable to them. Also, I feel unattractive when I'm with them, which is, yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. And when I'm there, I feel, really like a monster. Like a monster. Like old and ugly and fat when I'm there.
Well, you're definitely not the oldest or the fattest.
But it's not that. It's just like comments and things that make me have really bad feelings about how I look and about how
But that's what I'm saying is like you can't
how could I not
let it get to you.
How could I not? I feel like it's always there with some like sly comment.
If you don't engage, then
that's not engaging. That's just hearing people say stuff. It's just like what they're saying and what they're saying to me. Like, we played a game this evening, and it was like everyone has to write down their feelings about a question. It's loaded questions. It's a very fun game usually, but this question, most of the responses are kind of negative from the question. Do you remember the question? Allie's like, "Oh, they all sound just like you."
It wasn't negative.
The responses
it
were,
was why would someone not want to date you?
Yes. Why would someone not want to date you? So, there's 5 of us playing, so there's 4 responses, and the 4 responses were all stuff like, I'm too annoying.
I'm too good looking.
That was the only one that was nice. I need too much attention. And what was the other one?
Lazy.
Oh, I'm lazy. Yeah. So those were the responses. And my sister said, "Oh, that all sounds like Anna." I was like, Jesus, what the heck? Like, why is this?
I think she meant like stuff that you would put down.
Stuff that I would put down?
Yeah.
Or
Stuff that you would put as your answer.
No, I don't know about that.
Because you do like to say negative things about yourself. So
Maybe.
I think maybe that's what she was getting at, and you kind of took it the wrong way.
I don't know, because she told me when I was visiting, is that I'm self-centered.
Everybody is.
No, everybody isn't. I'm a narcissist.
Most people are.
No. And I want to be the center of attention at all times.
That's most people.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of that sounds like positive things. And I was telling her a story about...
It's like she was telling you your horoscope. It's
whatever.
like, today...
If only. I was telling her about a negative experience I had with another person. Yeah. And how I was being treated by this other person. And I was like, the behavior of this person, I can't handle it. It was a lot to deal with. Stressful. It was not fun. And she said to me, "Sounds just like you." I was like, what? I was like shocked. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Any negative comment is always directed towards me. So, anyway, maybe I am being narcissistic. I'm talking about myself right now. But it makes me feel like I'm not happy. It makes me unhappy to spend time with my family. That sucks. I want
Just gotta not let their stuff get to you, man.
That's easy for you to say. You're like a duck. Like everything just rolls off of you.
Because I really don't give a shit.
I know you really don't, but I think I give too many shits.
It doesn't affect my life at all.
Seriously? What?
It's funny. She's doing that.
What is she barking at?
I don't know.
Maybe we should pay attention. Maybe it's something.
I don't even know where she's barking. I can't see her. Can you see her?
No.
It's probably just the neighbors. She hates the neighbors.
She hates the neighbors. What's wrong with them? Oh,
I think because she can hear their car. That's why.
The neighbors right next to us on both sides, she does not care about them coming and going. It's just the neighbors right across, but they have a dog. And so Tabby thought, she has this theory, and I think she might be right. She's like, maybe the other dog is saying things that our dog understands, and it's negative things about the people that the dog lives with.
Okay.
She's like, hey, you leave that dog alone. How dare you? That's what she's doing.
Okay.
No. I know what you're doing. No.
No.
No, you don't think so?
No, I don't think they have that level of communication.
Maybe they, how do you don't know what they say to each other?
It all sounds the same.
It doesn't sound the same to them. Maybe everything we're saying sounds the same to them.
No, they don't have a language.
They have
It's
a
been studied.
language.
The dogs don't have a language. They have a feeling. They have emotions and not a language.
No. They have language, I believe. They
Maybe
have
their
their
language
own
is the
stuff
emotion.
that they say to each other. They have sense.
No,
of smell.
I'm saying that like maybe the way they make their noises is their language. I mean, I guess that is language.
Yes, that's
but
what language is.
like the whining, how they're
Yes.
whining,
Yeah.
faces that they're making.
Yeah. But
It's
the barking
emotion.
too, it's something. And she knows what they're up to over there.
It's a different type
Maybe
of bark.
we should call the dog people on these people.
It sounds like a something from a comedy movie.
Okay.
Like someone's talking to their dog, and then the dog's barking a certain way, and they're like, "Yeah, what else?" And then,
Like Lassie?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and but the person that they're
Toby's
with,
in the whale?
yeah, the person that they're with is like, "How do you know what the dog's saying?" He's like, "I know my dog's bark."
Like people say about their
yeah.
babies? Yes.
What kind of owner do you think I am? We communicate.
Mm-hmm. No.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Mm.
No. But I think that's what it is.
So the dog across the street is barking at Holly,
Yeah.
trying to tell Holly something about the neighbors when they get home.
Yes.
Like, they're home now.
They're up to no good.
I'll be safe.
They beat me.
Or like, I'm safe. You don't have to worry about me.
No, she wouldn't bark like that. She barks like she's angry.
Oh,
Like she's chastising them. She's like, hey, you keep your hands to yourself.
maybe the other dog doesn't like the way they pet her.
Maybe.
I mean, him. It's a boy. I
I
think.
don't know what kind of dog it is.
I think it's a boy. Oh, I did see this thing that you have on here for Scared for Life TV and movies.
Yeah.
Are these the ones that you're scared of?
Yes.
Is this like your top? Like, is it rated?
Oh yeah.
The Children of the Corn is the worst one?
It wasn't. No, they're not in any.
Thought it was the Lady of the Milk.
No. They're not in any particular
That's not
order.
even on here. Oh,
It is on there.
Lady with Milk and Knife.
Yes.
Oh.
So, the Children of the Corn. I never even saw the movie when it was scary to me. It was the trailer for it. It was always on TV when I was a little kid. When it came out, and it was just always playing, always playing. And the trailer was so scary to me that I was terrified. I would have nightmares about the trailer for the movie. So terrified.
Dang, I guess it wasn't rated properly for the audience.
I don't know. Back then, you know, in the 80s, they just put anything on TV and everybody watched everything. It didn't matter what it was.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh no, I can't. I'm so scared. Malachi, I don't even understand what that name is, but it's scary to me. Like, his name was scary and the kids were scary and the killing and everything. And then I tried to watch the movie finally a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. So I mean, 20 years or more later from when it came out, and I was scared of the trailer, I finally tried to watch it, and it's rough. I was right.
Yeah.
To be scared of it.
But how old were you?
But I didn't even finish it. I don't know. I was a kid, probably 8 or 9 or 10, something like that.
Huh.
And yeah, but those other ones, I have dates beside them. I didn't find the date for that. But the other ones that scared me, I found out how old I was when I was watching these movies that scarred me for life. And that's probably why they scarred me for life. So.
The day after, yeah.
The day after.
I didn't see that movie until
How could you
I was way older.
That's a TV movie.
Yeah.
And it was, of course, since it was a multi-night miniseries, whatever, my parents just watched everything. And that movie was on in 1983. And in 1983, I was, 10 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a 10-year-old child at school, I don't know. I think you said you didn't have these in your school. But in my school, we had drills just in case a nuclear bomb was dropped.
No, we had earthquake drills, but not a nuclear bomb drill.
Yeah, we had earthquake drills as well as nuclear bomb drills. And the bomb drill was, we all had to walk to our auditorium and put our faces to the wall. Because if you see the flash of light, you'll go blind. So I don't know. Your eyes are protected, but it doesn't really help you in any other way.
No, because the building's going to explode.
It depends on how close you are to it.
You're still going to get radiation right away.
Yes, you'll still get radiation. But the thing is that you can potentially
kids
survive.
don't know that. But
yeah, kids don't know that.
But who made up these drills? Like,
I don't know who makes up any of these drills. And so we would have to go.
Where does it get handed down from? The state?
I don't know. I guess not, because you were in the same state and you didn't have to do it.
No. Well, maybe
I was in the Catholic school. Maybe it's just the Catholic school system. They cared more about us than you public school kids.
Yeah, regular. Us regular kids out here.
So we would have to do those. And then that movie came on, and it was part of the news all the time. We were in the Cold War with Russia, and Russia were the bad guys. And they wanted us dead. And they talked about it on the news all the time. So my parents, of course, always had the news on.
There was a movie about it, wasn't there?
That's the movie.
No, Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. I saw that one too. Russia invades America. There was no bomb dropped. Yeah. But this is about the bomb. And so then they had that miniseries when I was 10. And I'm doing these drills at school. And then at home, I'm watching this movie. People are dying from their exposure and all this. It was.
No, yeah, that even had a pretty scary trailer.
Yeah, it was rough.
And I remember that one.
It was so scary, and it made it so real. Like, they dropped a bomb on some, just like average town in America. And it was the experiences of these people and nuclear winter and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, this is real, and it will happen. Not, it might happen.
Yeah, they were really pushing that.
They were really pushing it. Like, it's over. It's the end of the world. It's the 80s, and this is it. Deal with it. And one of the reasons why the bomb was never dropped, do you know why? It's a very weird story. It was about some little girl who's like the same age as me at the time. Okay. She was here in America, and she was all freaked out and scared because of the bomb too. And she wrote a letter to Gorbachev. Gorbachev. Why can't I say it?
Gorbachev.
There you go. That guy, Gorbachev. Closer?
No, that's good.
So she wrote a letter and said how, she was scared and she's just a little girl and all this kind of stuff. And he read the letter. He thought about it. He had kids too. He didn't want kids to be scared. There's more to the story than that, but that's all I can remember. But it was some little girl.
You think that was a real story?
It was a real story.
What was that movie? The Wag the Dog?
Yeah. Made up stories?
Yeah.
The little girl was real. And the girl died young, tragically. I do remember that part of the story.
Like they could have.
Do you think the CIA
said
killed the little girl?
No. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. She was probably going to tell the story.
One day she'll grow up and she'll tell the truth.
Yeah, maybe it was a Wag the Dog situation. Because they could have just picked some random girl and said, hey, go on TV and say you wrote this letter. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, here's $1 million. You can never talk about it again in your entire life, or we will kill you.
I guess she said something to the wrong person.
Yeah, they followed her ass.
Yeah, and then in 1982, the year before, when I was only a mere 9 years old, there was this movie called
Don't Go to Sleep.
Don't Go to Sleep. Yeah. So Don't Go to Sleep was also another TV movie. The friggin' TV movies, man.
That was a TV movie?
Yes.
Is that the one where the kid tied his shoelaces to the other kid in the car, and then the kid couldn't get out of the car when it got into an accident?
The car exploded.
Oh,
with the kid inside. I was like, and I was a little kid too.
No,
so looking
that
at
movie was scary.
A kid get exploded.
Yeah,
and so
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
One of the scenes, the kid put like a lizard or something at the foot of the bed, his grandmother's bed.
It was a snake.
Okay, and after that,
no, it was an iguana.
Yeah, see, I knew it was some sort of lizard. I'm telling you. And so after that, my sister and I, because we watched it together, so she was like 7.
Yeah.
No wonder she was jacked up from it. So she was like 7, and we couldn't go to sleep without checking the foot of our bed for stuff. Who was putting these lizards in our bed? I don't know. But we thought it was going to happen. Like some thing was going to be at the foot of our bed and then get us while we're trying to sleep at night. I mean, I don't remember when I stopped checking it. Now that I'm talking about it, I had to start checking the bed again. Anyway, so that, and then at the end, the kid had a pizza cutter, and he was rolling it up the banister or the stairs as he goes up to, like, I think get the mom. I think she was the last one left.
Imagine being the little kid actor and doing that stuff.
Oh.
And then seeing the movie later.
Yeah. Oh.
Like,
it was
dude,
so.
You guys had me doing some fucked up shit.
Yeah, it was. It was so scary. It was so scary.
Pet Cemetery, the scene where the little kid slices up not the ankle, but what's that called?
Achilles tendon.
Achilles tendon, like slice it in half. Mm-hmm. Dude,
but it was not the little kid doing that stuff. I know, it was a small person.
They had the kid doing some weird stuff.
The kid was doing all the speaking parts, but when you saw the kid like running and stuff like that, it was a small person. Adult size. Adult person. But it was, I don't know how these kids, and the little kid from Poltergeist.
That was a scary one.
That was a scary one.
What was the scariest scene from that for you?
The tree to me.
Yeah, I think
the tree coming through the window and grabbing that boy, because I had a tree outside of not outside my bedroom window, but outside of the house, and I thought, it's big and it's going to pick me up when I'm outside on my roller skates one day.
It's gonna get me.
And then like the maggots.
The clown.
Maggots in the steak. That was so.
I don't remember that.
Okay, so this.
Oh yeah. And
it starts like inching across the.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was crazy.
So gross.
Who thinks of that?
Weirdos.
Why do you have Purple Rain on here?
Oh, that's for something else. Oh, because it was something. It's about something that scarred me for life. Purple Rain was the first movie that I heard all that cursing in.
Yeah.
I never heard language like that in my life.
From Morris Day? You heard your best cursing from Morris Day?
It was, I don't know who was cursing. I just know it was a lot of cursing. And the language was like words I've never heard. And I was like, my parents don't say words like that. What is this? And it was like, so the words were what bothered me the most. And then soon after that, or around the same time, we watched Flashdance. And it was like the sexuality in the language in that one.
Yeah.
Like stuff about it. It's like, oh, I don't think I should be seeing this. This is
Yeah.
not appropriate for me.
Yeah. This isn't age appropriate.
Yeah. It's not. So, what scared you when you were a little guy?
Well, I was going to say Poltergeist. That was...
What was scariest to you? The tree?
Yeah, the
Too?
tree. Definitely.
Why is it always that tree?
I don't know. I mean, I because like you said, because there's trees everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially when you live in LA, there's trees everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're walking around like a little kid, looking at trees like, oh, this thing's gonna get me. I'm gonna die right now.
Yeah. That's so scary. And he was so dirty. And, you know, I still have a thing. I have this hang up with dirty people. And the kid was just so covered in muck. And that bothered me too. Like the idea of just being covered in gunk all over my body. Oh, like,
yeah,
that too.
He just looked gooey and muddy.
He was so gross looking after, and that
one was bad. And The Exorcist, that was pretty tough.
Yeah, we were little when that movie came out too, and I watched it.
Yeah.
It came on TV a lot. That's where I saw it, and it was always like, no.
I'll go back to the like when you're talking about Purple Rain, because this goes around, not scarred for life, but you know, the same thing. I went to the movies with my mother, and I was very young, like probably 10 or 11, and we went to go see 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, and that is some cursing right there, man. Like straight out, an actual sex scene. And well, I mean, maybe there wasn't a full-on sex scene, but there was some stuff going on.
There was some stuff.
I think there was titties in that movie too. Because you know they always end up in some kind of strip club.
Yes.
So there was definitely titties, but the whole thing, that was like opened my eyes a lot. Really fast.
To stuff you weren't quite ready for.
Yeah. Well, I mean. It goes to context, right? Because you don't quite know what that means, but it's like, dude, my parents took me to this.
This
my
is
mother
not
took me
for
to this
me?
movie. Yeah, it's not age appropriate.
Yeah, it's not.
You're feeling.
Yeah, it's like even I don't know why parents didn't think about this back then, but they just didn't. They just let us watch anything. And
I have friends that do that still right now.
Really?
Yeah, there was this guy that I used to work with, and he had 2 young kids. Like, I think he said there was like 7 and 9 or 8 and 9, and they would watch like Seth Rogen movies and like play really violent video games, and I think he said, I remember what movie it was. It was Sausage Party.
Okay.
Like he saw with his very young kids. And I'm like, dude. He's like, yeah, I don't give a shit.
Okay. Okay. What are you... Maybe he never thought about... I think this is what it is. You don't think about... I don't blame my parents because they actually didn't know the stuff that we were seeing.
No, this dude knew better.
Yeah, no, I know, but they didn't. Stuff like that didn't exist when they were kids, so they didn't have that like scarred for life. Now I have kids. I don't want to do that to them. I think maybe this guy never thought about
because
the fact
movies
that
didn't exist.
The movies exist. They're not that. They're old.
Those type of movies.
Not those type of movies. Not with that kind of stuff in it. That kind of stuff was very new. But you don't think about the fact that they may have watched stuff before they were really ready to process it and what it did to them. I think it makes kids feel uncomfortable, or it makes them like I said, like these movies are still scary to me.
Yeah.
as an adult, things from those movies are still frightening. And so it's not because maybe the movie's not so terrifying. It was just that I was too young to see it.
Yeah.
And it scared me so much that I still am afraid of it.
Yeah.
Like when we were talking about Miss Hot Pants, talking about her again, she back then, so she was in her 40s, early 40s, late 30s at the time.
Yeah.
She said one day, because she was always at home alone during the daytime, and apparently she gets scared. I don't know.
Yeah.
She said that that little girl from Poltergeist was in her room in the corner in her rocking chair looking at her. I was like, what are you talking about?
What are you on, man?
Yeah. What? So she was much older when that movie came out, and it scarred her.
Yeah.
So much that she still sees images of this woman like coming after her child to this day. And I'm like, so if it was too much for you, how could a little kid, what are you supposed to do with the feelings that you're feeling when you're feeling them at that age? Like, there's nothing, you can't verbalize it because you don't even know what is happening.
You've never had that feeling before, so you don't know how to process it.
You don't know how to process it. And so it's just like irresponsible, because I know parents should know better by now.
Well, do you think it'll make their kids more, they think it'll make their kids more mature?
Do you need your kids to? Okay, that's not good for your kids. Those are the people that end up with grandchildren very young.
Nice.
And kids that spend time in juvenile detention because they're mature and they know about stuff.
30-year-old grandparent.
Yeah. So, because they know about things that they shouldn't quite know about yet.
Yeah.
And it made me thinking about the list of stuff that scarred me, about like, I don't even know where it came from or where it started. But my first sexual fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
How old do you think you were when you had your first sexual fantasy?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a good one. I don't remember what it was.
I remember what it was, and I remember I was in like 3rd or 4th grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was Mr. Brady, because I watched him every week. Just like naked from just sitting, saying something, but I don't remember what he was saying. And he was naked and very hairy. But I didn't know what penises looked like. And so in my mind back then, I saw, because my parents also had on and select TV, and at night it got real racy.
Yeah. HBO, After Dark.
Yeah. They didn't, it was before that. But it was the After Dark. It was pretty much just porn at night. And so I saw some stuff that I shouldn't have seen. I think that's where it came from. And he was just, I thought that penises were just a roll of hair.
A roll of hair.
It's like a roll of hair between boys' legs.
That's not weird.
That's gross, thinking about it now. But back then, it was like, I saw a long thing. I don't know what it is, but this is what I imagined it is. And so he... just like a tube o' hair.
Okay. Tube of hair.
Yeah. And so it was him, very hairy chest, tube o' hair, but I never saw past like his upper thigh. Mm-hmm. That's it. And that was it. And I woke up, I was like, oh, what was that?
He had legs.
And then after that, I drew a lot of dirty naked pictures of guys with those tubes o' hair. A bunch of them. It was like my favorite thing to draw.
Tube of hair. Yes. Like that scene from Superbad where he talks about he used to draw penises when he was a kid. Everything was a penis.
I drew a lot of penises.
And then he couldn't eat anything that was shaped like penises.
Well, I guess it made me feel a totally different way than he did about it.
Yeah.
It was, disturbing. I shouldn't have seen those things that I saw when I was little. And then one time I found my father's stash of Playboy magazines, and then it was a whole different collection of things I was drawing. And my Barbies were just going at it all the time.
With each other?
Yes, all the time.
Hmm.
Those Barbies, they were filthy.
Yeah.
Filthy.
Was everything in your mind, or did you say the stuff out loud?
What stuff?
Like they were just, you were
I
just pushing up against each other?
I said those Barbies fucking all the time. I didn't.
Yeah, but you didn't say anything like, "Oh, Ken."
I don't know.
Oh, Barbie.
I don't think so.
Like there was no dialogue. They just
There's no
for it?
dialogue. The dialogue was in my head because here's.
So I'm saying you didn't say it out
okay,
loud.
no, I didn't say it out loud. Maybe I don't think so because here's the weirder thing. Yes, my sister and I shared a room. Yes, she is younger than me. But she stopped playing with Barbie dolls way before I did.
Stopped.
She was way not interested in toys. She got to be like, I don't know, 7 or 8, and she's like done with them. But I didn't stop playing with my Barbies, and this is until I was in like 7th grade. Because it had to be 7th or 8th grade. And the only reason I know it had to be 7th or 8th grade is because I started middle school in 7th grade. And I know, and Jimmy Z became popular.
Yeah.
Clothes. And I made full Jimmy Z outfits for my Barbie and my Ken.
Like pants and socks?
Yeah, shorts and tank top for Ken. I had this really fucking hot Ken. He was like 80s Ken. And he had like great hair, and he was very tan.
Did he have like hair?
No, he didn't. Or maybe did he? Is that the one with the great? No, he had painted on hair, but he was really hot. And Barbie had a Jimmy Z off. You know, the skirts were like short on one side and long in the front. She had the skirt. I made her that skirt.
Did you actually take markers and write Jimmy Z?
Yes, I did. There were Jimmy Z outfits, and so. So anyway, I had to be like in 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yes. So although I had been drawing penises since I was about 8 and making my dolls fuck, I was still a little girl.
Even though you didn't know what they were actually doing.
I didn't know what they were doing. They were just banging into each other. I know. A lot.
Yeah. And then penis hairballs.
But Ken dolls don't have those. They just have like a
lump.
It's like a cleft.
Yeah, it is kind of like a mini cleft.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I don't remember ever making any fake dicks, but they were doing a lot of fucking. So anyway,
except for the ones that you drew.
The one I didn't draw the stick figure people.
No, the fake dicks.
The fake dicks, no. I didn't. There was no penetration with these dicks. It was just pictures. Just pictures. So now that I've spilled my guts.
I mean, I tell you, I don't remember.
You don't remember anything?
No, not really. I'm trying to go back in time.
Go back in time.
And
gotta go back.
No, I mean, I used to dream about when I would go take a shower, there'd be a naked girl in there.
You were just expecting a girl to be in your shower?
Yeah.
Was it like weird science? Like some full-grown woman was in your shower?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, like a human woman, not a robot.
No.
We didn't have that technology then. No, but, I mean, I used to look at dirty magazines.
Where were they coming from? Your brother?
I don't remember. No. Like I did have some new ones. I'm trying to remember where I got them.
That you maybe buy them for yourself at
one
of those same places they would sell you cigarettes?
I think somebody I went to school with stolen from the store when I was in junior high school.
Kids are such a bad influence on other kids.
Yeah. So he would steal them from the store and just give them to his friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you think was going on underneath girls' clothes before you saw what was going on underneath girls' clothes?
I had no idea.
No idea?
No.
No thoughts?
I mean, I was in, may have been elementary.
Mm-hmm.
No, it could have been junior. No, it was definitely junior high. Now I think about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Naked girl in the shower. And that's it.
That was just more like a fantasy.
Oh, that's not a dream. It's a
Yeah.
fantasy.
Yeah.
Naked girl in the shower.
Not dream. Like I wouldn't be asleep and dream that.
Yeah.
It was a fantasy.
Okay.
I'd be awake.
See, mine was
Think about it.
a dream. I had no control
Yeah.
over Mr. Brady showing up. And it made me look at him weird every time I saw him on TV after that. I'm like, why are you doing this to me, Mr. Brady?
And wasn't he gay
I think he was, yes.
in real life?
I have a thing about that, which is that makes a lot of sense. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, because your first one
The first one was
was kind of feminine.
yeah. I just didn't even know it.
Like, what's her name in that movie? Steve Carell in the movie when it was speed dating. It was 40 Year Old Virgin.
Yeah.
And Gina. He asked her what her name was.
Mm-hmm.
Gina. She was trying to make the transition from women to men.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, you do kind of have you're kind of feminine a little bit, so it'll be a good transition for me.
Oh,
You know,
gosh.
Gina.
No one's name is China.
Hers was.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because he said Gina, and then like
I know,
she
she's
immediately
like, no.
corrected him, Gina. And then when they were leaving, Seth Rogen's character was like, you know who my favorite was? Gina.
Yeah. Why?
He was going to go out with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, no. I'm trying to think, like, I can't even think about my first.
So you like to draw all the time like me when you were young.
I didn't really draw
Were you-
naked women.
You weren't just drawing boobs all over the place
No,
as much as you love those things.
not really.
Were you scared someone's going to find them?
No, I didn't really draw naked women at all. I would draw like comic book characters that are women with big boobs, not just like a random torso,
But they had
naked titties.
They had clothes on.
Yeah, the chicks always got clothes on.
That's so weird.
I wasn't very good at drawing nipples.
That's why.
Yeah,
You're like, I'm not good at this. It's not worthwhile. I'm just going to put clothes on them.
I was good at hands, but not nipples.
Jeez. It's just 2 circles.
No, placement wasn't right.
You just wouldn't put them in the right place. You couldn't line them up right.
No,
Never thought about getting a ruler and
once you draw it and like erase it a few times, then you just gotta black it out and make a bikini top.
oh my.
Jumpsuit.
Jumpsuit. I saw a long thing. I don't know what it is.